Welcome to this video on the volatility trap and why even top-tier experts can feel powerless when industries around them collapse. Today we will explore why repeated job loss in hospitality often signals a structural issue, not a personal failing, and we will map out practical, high-return paths that convert your expertise into stability and growth. As we move through, we will compare relocation to high-density markets versus reinventing your business model, and we will build a step-by-step plan you can execute in the next 90 days. Here's our roadmap. First, we set the context and frame why venue closures are systemic. Next, we'll contrast relocation against a full business model pivot. Then, we'll examine 3 high-return pivots: consulting and turnaround, private events and catering, and distribution and sales. After that, we'll walk through a quantitative framework to compare options before you leap. We'll also build a 90-day transition plan. Along the way, you'll get short quizzes to test understanding. Finally, we'll consolidate key takeaways and resources. Hospitality, especially bars and restaurants, is structurally volatile. High failure rates, slim margins, and localized demand can cause even excellent professionals to lose jobs repeatedly when venues close. It's crucial to separate personal performance from systemic risk, to avoid internalizing blame, and to choose strategies that reduce exposure to venue-level instability. The key message is that repeated venue closures are more about structural instability than personal performance. Local labor markets and venue density determine how often opportunities appear and disappear. Consequently, you have 2 primary levers: relocate to high-density, high-cost-of-living markets where demand and turnover are constant, or shift your business model to monetize expertise rather than trading only hours. For long-term resilience, the emphasis should be on transitioning from hourly labor to building and selling intellectual capital. On the left, relocation to high-cost-of-living metropolitan areas offers a fast fix because there is constant turnover and a vast client base. This can increase earnings bands, but also raises living expenses and requires quick ramp-up. On the right, reinventing your model by moving into consulting, private events, or distribution leverages your expertise into higher margins, more control, and scalability. However, it requires building a portfolio, developing sales capability, and managing operations. Your choice depends on your time horizon, financial buffer, and appetite for entrepreneurship. This flowchart begins at repeated venue closures and splits into 2 strategic responses. The first path is relocation to a high-cost-of-living metro, contingent on confirming a financial runway, a housing plan, and a timeline for network ramp-up. The second path is to reinvent your business model, which then branches into consulting and turnaround, private events and catering, and distribution and sales. Each of these requires assets, like a portfolio, a clear offer, pricing strategy, and an outreach plan. A decision node asks whether your passion remains strong. If yes, relocation can be the fastest immediate fix. If passion is exhausted, the diagram points to entering a new field, but only after a quantitative ROI study. Finally, all paths converge on executing a 90-day plan. There are 3 high-return pivots. First, consulting and turnaround, where you design beverage programs, standard operating procedures, and training systems. This work is project-based and can include retainers for ongoing support. Second, private events and catering, where you market premium, specialized experiences to affluent clients and corporate buyers. This path offers strong margins and scheduling flexibility. Third, distribution and sales, where you leverage product knowledge and relationships to move into wholesale roles that offer reliable salaries, commissions, and career progression. This illustrative table compares 3 paths. Consulting and turnaround may require $1,000 to $3,000 in startup costs for branding, portfolio building, and minimal tools, with typical monthly revenue ranging from $8,000 to $20,000 and high gross margins. Sales cycles average 2 to 6 weeks, with the key risk being pipeline volatility. Private events and catering may require $3,000 to $10,000 for equipment, permits, and marketing, with $6,000 to $25,000 in monthly revenue and solid margins, though seasonality and lead generation pose risks. Distribution and sales roles typically require minimal startup cost, offer $5,000 to $10,000 in salary per month plus commissions depending on seniority, and can start quickly if you secure an offer. The main risks are quota pressure and territory fit. These numbers are examples and not guarantees. Question: if your passion for hospitality remains strong but local jobs are sparse, What is the fastest short-term fix? Options: A. Retrain into a totally new field immediately. B. Relocate to a high cost of living metro with constant demand. C. Wait for another local venue to open. D. Slash your rates to get any gig. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. Relocating to a high cost of living metropolitan area exposes you to denser opportunity, higher turnover, and faster access to roles aligned with your skill level. Before committing, quantify your options. First, compute unit economics. Revenue equals rate times billable hours, and your effective rate should be calculated as revenue divided by all time, including sales and operations. Next, determine customer acquisition cost as total sales and marketing spend divided by new clients. Then, estimate lifetime value as average gross profit per client multiplied by the number of months you retain them. Compare scenarios directly. For a consulting example, charging $2,500 per project across 4 projects yields $10,000 revenue, with a 75% margin producing $7,500 gross. For private events, charging $4,000 per event across 3 events yields $12,000 revenue, with a 65% margin producing $7,800 gross. For distribution, a $6,500 salary plus $1,500 in commissions yields $8,000 in predictable monthly cash flow. Lastly, stress test your assumptions by plus or minus 25% to evaluate how resilient each plan is to variability. Here is a 90-day plan. During weeks 1 and 2, audit your current skills, portfolio, and proof, including photos, menus, standard operating procedures, and testimonials. During weeks 3 and 4, craft clear offers and pricing tiers, focusing on outcomes rather than hours. In weeks 5 and 6, create basic assets like a one-page website, a concise case study deck, a booking form, and a lightweight customer relationship management system. During weeks 7 and 8, execute targeted outreach with 50 to 100 personalized emails and 10 warm introductions per week. In weeks 9 and 10, deliver your first engagements, document outcomes, and collect testimonials. Finally, in weeks 11 and 12, increase your rates by 10 to 20%, systematize your operations, and create a recurring pipeline schedule. This timeline maps your 12-week transition across 3 phases. The preparation phase includes auditing skills and proof and developing offers, pricing, and basic assets. The build phase focuses on creating your website and deck and launching active outreach. The scale phase captures early clients and testimonials, followed by raising rates and systematizing your operations. Timeboxing reduces perfectionism and ensures consistent forward motion, while collecting proof early accelerates trust with future buyers. Question: for long-term career longevity, what is the core shift recommended in this video? Options: A. Moving from premium services to budget pricing. B. Moving from hourly labor to leveraging intellectual capital. C. Moving from direct clients to only agency work. D. Moving from beverage expertise to general administrative tasks. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. The long-term strategy is to shift from trading hours to leveraging intellectual capital by packaging your expertise into systems, programs, and outcomes. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or career advice. You should perform your own research, validate assumptions with current local market data, and consult qualified professionals before making significant decisions. The main takeaways are as follows. First, the instability is structural, not personal. Second, relocating to dense markets can be the fastest near-term fix if you still love the work. Third, for durability, pivot from hourly labor to monetizing your intellectual capital. Fourth, consider the 3 high ROI pivots discussed: consulting, private events, and distribution. Fifth, quantify decisions by modeling acquisition costs, lifetime value, margins, and conducting stress tests. Finally, execute the 90-day plan and iterate based on results. In summary, decide whether to pull the geographic lever or the business model lever. Before walking away from your field, productize your expertise, and test higher value models. Rely on data rather than hope to design your next move, and begin executing the 90-day plan to convert uncertainty into momentum. Thank you for watching. If this helped, please like the video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more actionable playbooks. Tell us in the comments which path you're choosing. Relocate, reinvent, or both, and what your first 14-day action is. I look forward to reading your plans and questions.